Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's so good to see you during this fine Halloween season. I'm here today to tell you about the origins of All Hallows Eve, which is the second most celebrated holiday in your country. For it's on this day that young trick-or-treaters will prowl the dusky gloom of Halloween night, dress as witches and ghosts, modern heroes and old-time villains. But what they don't realize is that they are unwittingly acting out ancient Irish traditions that began with a Celtic pagan festival some 2,000 years ago, and which has evolved over the centuries into a Christian celebration on the eve of All Saints' Day. In Ireland today, one of the few countries where ancient Celtic customs still survive, Halloween is traditionally known as the Eve of Samhain, which means summer's end. You see, Samhain marks the beginning of the Celtic New Year, which has always been celebrated on the 1st of November, Mína Samhain in Irish. And it's on the eve of that day, October the 31st, Deireadh Fódhuirt, that the ancient Druid priests would honor Samhain, who was also known as the Lord of the Dead. For you see, I am Lord Samhain, the very one whom the ancient Celts believed could command the spirits of all those who had departed from this realm. It is I who could either allow these spirits to rest peacefully or spur them into a wild frenzy. And this I would do every October the 31st, when I would summon together all the evil souls of those who had died the previous year and return them to this world in the form of beasts and monsters, along with demons of unimaginable fright. So you see, the Eve of Samhain became for the people a night of danger, a night of dread, a night when all sorts of witches, ghosts and monsters would roam the earth, striking fear in the very hearts and minds of humans. The ancient Irish knew me well. They knew me and they feared me. Oh, those foolish mortals. They would often gather together in groups to protect themselves from the demons that would prowl their world. Some would seek the sanctuary of the sacred oak tree groves and the protection of their Druid priests, while others would parade in procession from house to house in search of contributions to Macola, another of the Celtic mischievous spirits. These processions were led by a man wearing a long white robe and a horse head mask. To the people, this leader was known as Lair Von, meaning white mare. Young men serving as his assistants walked behind him, blowing on the horns of cows, announcing their approach to the villagers. And as they traveled from one village to the next, the people often joined in until some processions grew to 50 or more. And at each farmstead, the costume leader would call out the head of the household, and if that farmer wished to prosper for the coming year, he was expected to make a generous contribution to the mischievous spirit of Macola. And though this time has long since passed, the legend of Macola has continued to this very day. For you see, Macola was one of the few demon spirits that did not return to the afterworld before the rise of the morning sun on the 1st of November. Rather, his spirit lingered on in this world, ready to cause mischief at his own discretion. And our children have been told throughout the years to beware of Mac for he is known to hide in the shadows of the night, ready to snatch away children who misbehave, never to see their parents again. And though the Celtic name of Mac might not be familiar to you, the English translation of his name is known to all as none other than the Boogieman. Well, in addition to me, Lord Samhain, the ancient Celts also used this time of year to honor their sun god, the ripener of the grain. For without the sun there'd be no food, and without food the people would soon starve. Therefore, on the night of October the 31st, the people would light huge bonfires until the morning sun, when all fires were extinguished and new ones lit with the pre-existing flame. And on the day after, November the 1st, the people would end their night of hiding, their night of fear, with a joyous celebration by feasting on nuts and apples and partaking in dancing, story and fortune-telling, and games. Thus, the vigil of Samhain also came to include this joyful harvest celebration, which would always follow the night of danger, the night of dread. But alas, nothing forever stays the same. As time passed, a new religion called Christianity came to the shores of Ireland, bringing to these ancient Celtic rites new meaning and new names. Yet despite all of its Christian teachings, the church was unable to end the people's fear of the approaching night of October the 31st. Therefore, in the year 835 AD, a decision was made by Pope Gregory IV to move the Feast of All Saints' Day, which had been celebrated on the 13th of May, to the 1st of November, the Celtic New Year. Upon doing so, the people were encouraged to combine the observance of this feast day with the pagan celebrations associated with the vigil of Samhain to create the Halloween festival you have come to know this day. All Saints' Day gradually evolved into All Hallows, with the eve of Samhain becoming known as All Hallows Eve, later shortened to Halloween. However, despite this Christian transformation, the people continued to anticipate the arrival of spirits and demons on the night of October the 31st with great anguish and fear. And as they had done during their pagan past, they continued to gather in groups where they would tremble at unusual sounds and shudder at stories. The custom of dressing up in costume on Halloween has its origins rooted in the early Catholic Church, which staged pageants throughout Ireland during the All Hallows celebration. Those who participated in these pageants dressed up as patron saints or devils. For nearly everyone in Ireland came to believe that the wearing of scary costumes would either frighten away creatures from the world of Satan or trick these spirits into thinking that the Irish themselves were demons and thus leave them alone. And in addition to these traditions, there are other customs observed in the United States, which are also Irish in origin. Among these is the custom of bobbing for apples. You see, many Irish believe that during All Hallows Eve, the future could be foretold by following certain examples. To ascertain who would marry, thrive, or die in the coming year, the Irish were bobbed for apples. When one was caught, they would peel the apple and fling the peel over the left shoulder. After it landed, the peel was supposed to form a letter of the alphabet, and depending on the question asked, was supposed to form the name of a future spouse. You can also thank the ancient Irish for the fear of black cats crossing one's path. Also derived from Celtic folklore, is the caricature of the traditional Halloween witch. This caricature was based upon the old hag, who was often believed to have accompanied me to this world. The Halloween tradition of carving out and illuminating large vegetables was also started by the Irish as an attempt to pacify evil spirits. You can thank these ancient kilts and their modern parts, the Irish, for helping to preserve traditions and for giving a Christian meaning to a pagan holiday that is looked forward to by trick-or-treaters, young and old, throughout the United States, Canada, and Ireland today. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for me to depart. But before I go, a word of caution. Beware this All Hallows Eve. For around every corner and behind every tree may well lurk the demons I am sure to bring to your world, to bring to you nothing but havoc and despair, as well as uncontrollable fright. Have a happy Halloween. That is, if you can.